Or that the white guy is saying that he's trying to start an army, and that they want to kill all the black people in the world except those who
help in the destroying of their brother, and they will be spared being forever slaves for eternity. So he tells them, he's like, come closer, and he's like showing them all these tattoos on him, and they're like all these Nazi, neo-Nazi fucking propaganda.
Super gross.
Super fucking over the top, crazy looking tattoos and shit, and he fucking punches them in the face when he sees all this shit through the cages that they're in, because they're like in these little chicken cages.
Very fast, too.
Yeah, and he fucking starts bleeding, and the white dude's like, he's like, you're exactly what I want, you know, like, that's when he kind of tells him, like, you're doing my work, like, you're fucking...
You're already doing it.
Yeah, you're killing your people, you're doing a great job, you know, like, obviously. And then, it kind of cuts to him being transported to this fucking Dr. Satan gurney type thing, where they strap him up and shave his head.
Yeah, and kind of torture him with all of these
shock therapy.
Yeah, it's like gang violence.
Yeah, so they put in front of him, just like in a Clockwork Orange. They put him in like, kind of like they play movies in front of him, along with music, and kind of put him on like this revolting table that's just spinning him. He can't
seeing these images.
Yeah, so he can't. He can probably close his eyes if he wanted to, but it's like he's spinning so fast. He's just like has this fucking shock therapy thing hooked up to his junk and his nipples and his fucking head. And they, not to mention, they stick this green liquid up his nose and down his throat, like these. Oh man, just looks torturous. These tubes, they stick these tubes up his fucking face and shit.
This is where the movie gets even more nuts, because they're showing him real photographs of lynchings, of
real ones,
real dead people, you know, real gang violence, things happening, along with
Strange Fruit.
Yeah, no, Strange Fruit is in the cop one.
Oh, that's right. Sorry about that.
Damn, we didn't talk.
We'll get to there. Yeah, we'll go back.
But yeah, so he's being kind of now he's repulsed, and the lady.
Yeah, because it's like, when we're saying real, it's not like reenactment. It's like actual
photos.
Yeah, nonfiction. Mm-hmm. It's real documented lynchings of black people in the fucking like 40s and 50s, pretty much, which is not that long ago, fools. So
yeah, the psychiatrist lady standing on top of there's like a little catwalk, and she's like, oh, what's the matter, like, you've been doing this for years, why does it bother you now? You know what I mean?
Oh, I was gonna say, along with the lynchings, it's showing Klan members propaganda, and then very well placed in there too, it shows like modern gang violence, with all of these gang members wearing like white ski masks, very reminiscent of the KKK hoods, basically showing people that connection between the kind of like the over the top music that they endorsed about killing black people, and actually going out and doing it with the, you know, the drug and the gang violence, where they're kind of saying like, you guys picked up where we left off, like it didn't stop, it actually kind of kept on going and got worse, and now you guys are doing it to yourselves over pride, over fucking gang shit, like, you know, it's kind of weird, but at the same time it's very powerful. Like it I'm not gonna lie, it kind of made me like, fuck dude, like kind of like uncomfortable, that part, and the part right after where they put him in solitary confinement and the strobe light shows all the people that he killed. Yeah, they put him in the strobe light in this which is, you can hypersensitive chamber or some shit. Yeah, but they put him in this big chair, and I'm not sure, you may have not have seen Get Out yet, but there's when he's sitting in the chair, it looks very reminiscent of that kind of iconic image of It looks like the Death Row chair.
Uh-huh.
Death Row Records chair, where he's like on a big wooden chair with...
The giant, like oversized chair.
Okay.
But in Get Out or whatever, Daniel Kaluuya is towards the end of the movie is put in this big kind of lazy boy, but it's in that same position.
I've seen that, and then he falls. He kind of falls into it.
Yeah.
Into the plague,
Mm-hmm.
the abyss. You know what, dude? I've actually seen parts of Get Out. You know,
It's a great movie. Because you probably listened to our episode we did.
No, but I've seen it somewhere. My grandma was watching it or something. But anyways, yeah, I know what you're talking about because
I think there was maybe influence there.
Yeah, I know about that scene because the fucking lady with the teacup,
Hypnotized,
hypnotizing that fool. Dang, I'm getting goosebumps. But anyways, yeah, it's very reminiscent of that, and he's
basically being called out from all his victims come back to life,
and
they're down there with him. There's this crazy, and it's really uncomfortable. The strobe light really kind of hurts your eyes.
It does, dude.
But I think it's supposed to have that effect on you.
I was saying when we were watching it, imagine in the fucking theater. Mm-hmm. Like, I wouldn't be able to do it.
And it lasts a long time.
It's like 8 minutes,
overly
dude.
long of that.
Yeah, that's a long time of strobe.
Yeah, of all the...
And it shows all of his victims from direct violence to drive-by innocent victims.
Yeah.
Yeah, so people that he was like being approached to, like, you know what? Like, he was like, one dude was like, "Why'd you kill me? That's fucked up." And he was like, "Yo, a bullet don't have no name on it," or something.
He says that to the little girl because she's like,
"Oh, that's right.
Oh, I never did anything to you. Like, I was just hanging out in my room and then a bullet came through the wall." And he looks at her and he goes, and he's probably the most sympathetic with her.
Yeah, his vibe changes.
Where he's like, "Oh, you know, like a bullet don't got no name on it. You were just in the wrong place at the wrong time." Circling back to that Smoking Aces reference.
Aces.
But then he goes back into his kind of tough guy persona where he's like, "Well, fuck all you." Like,
yeah, because the lady who's head of the fucking thing shows back up and says like, "Hey, you know, she kind of says like, you're not going to get a second chance from this." And he fucking's like, get me out of these restraints, and fucking starts flipping out. And she says to him, "You can stand up anytime you want. There's no restraints on you." And he stands up and he grabs the first orderly nurse that's next to him and puts her in a fucking headlock, or no, he's in a snapper neck or
like
something.
Like a chokehold type thing. And he's like, "Let me out of here or I'll
snapper neck."
Yeah.
And she's like, "You're not gonna get back from this. There's no second chances."
She was like, "It's not," but she says it's not too late for you to change. You can still change at this point. And he's just like,
"I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck." For like ever, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Shout out to DMX using that shit in his intro track for "It's Dark and Hell is Hot." Don't think I didn't hear that shit, DMX. Rest in peace, fool.
So then. And all of those victims, everybody disappears.
And the lights turn on, and he's there with nobody. Mm-hmm. And he's like almost naked, standing up.
Mm-hmm. And I think it cuts back to when he's gunned down by the three gangsters after he had just killed their friend.
And he says he's looking up to the guys while he's dying on the floor, and the voices are distorted, and they say, "Do you want to live or die?" And his reply, coincidentally to the lady in his mind who was doing the rehabilitation, was the reply to the dude saying, "If you want to die or live," he says, "I don't give a fuck." And
they say, "Well, we don't give a fuck either, motherfucker."
And they fucking shoot him. And they kill him
a bunch of times, yeah. And then he dies.
So,
and then they reveal the identities that it is in fact the three dealers from our main story.
Bulldog and the two gangsters. I don't remember their names. Just the homies. Bulldog and the homies.
Mm-hmm.
And
we cut back to them
real time.
Everybody in the mortuary, and now they now understand that they have been brought there because Mr. Sims somehow knows what they've done.
Yeah, and he says they freak out, and Bulldog pulls out a gun and says, "You're here to turn us in. Fuck you. We want the
give us the shit.
Give us the shit, or else we're gonna kill you."
Mm-hmm.
And so he directs them to the back room, and he's like, "It's in the coffin, of course."
The very last room.
The very last room, and there's 3 coffins, and he says each coffin is for one of you or whatever. Go look. And they open up the coffins, and it's them in the coffins, and they flip the fuck out.
They all of a sudden they turn into like these little kind of scaredy cats.
Yeah.
They're like, "You trying to tell us that we're dead?"
Yeah, he's like, "What the fuck are we doing in a mortuary then?" And he was like, "Yo, after you killed Crazy K and his boys came back and they killed you." He's like, "Bullshit, motherfucker," or some shit like that. And like, they all pull out their guns and they try to shoot him, but he fucking turns their guns into like hot coal.
Or just turns them really hot, so they drop their weapons. And
they all freak out, and they see themselves in the they look at themselves basically, and he says, one of the guys says, "Where the fuck are we?"
They're like, "I thought we were in a mortuary," and he's like, "Oh no, this isn't a mortuary.
Welcome to hell."
Or he says something like, "Welcome to hell, motherfuckers."
Yeah, and then you see his fucking big ass snake tongue go through the middle of his teeth, which is kind of like CG. It's CGI for sure.
I don't know why they did that,
but I thought it was pretty cool. And he turns into a fucking hell snake.
This huge serpent thing.
Yeah.
Which is all practical. Mm-hmm. And that looks great.
He has like this big ass headrest, and his eyes are all fucking...
Because it's funny, if you look at not to veer off, but if you look at the CGI monsters they try to do in the Mortal Kombat movies that just came out at just around this time, they should have done those practically or animatronically, because look at how
good
better Sims' makeup has aged as opposed to the Mortal Kombat movies that look like they were done on fucking Windows 95.
Even Zombie Moorhead
looks great.
Yeah, he's like the standard zombie for Resident Evil. Like, he's fucking dope. He's really good. I was gonna say too is that when they show them, it's very reminiscent of what hell looks like in Spawn, where all these people are just kind of burning everywhere.
Yeah,
and
very exaggerated. And once Sims reveals his true form, the coffins, everything disappears. Melts. And you see them in hell. And
like for eternity, like it's just everywhere's flames.
And then they just start kind of convulsing.
Yeah,
and that's the end of the...
Yeah, it's like the end of the film, kind of like these motherfuckers were in hell the whole time, and they were just realizing that they were dead.
Sixth Sense.
Yep.
All the way.
That's really crazy.
I mean, it makes sense too, because we really don't know what keeps people alive, or maybe they were killed and they couldn't come to terms with that to cross over, whether it be heaven, whether it be hell, what other dimension
what too is it's very relative to what the story is, because they probably all died together and they were all being led by Bulldog, so kind of like their journey, that was like the purpose of their journey. They're still alive in the sense of like, hey, we're still together, so we're still here in the afterlife. And then they finally realize, like, yo, we're dead. He's like, we're dead. He's like, very.
A realization.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, but that's the
movie, man. We talked about that movie for a minute. Real quick, I personally can't come up with a favorite one out of all of them. Each one of them has a really good point.
Yeah, I would. For me, I would think it'd be either the monster one, because just like you were saying,
David Alan Grier.
Well, he's really good, but just the moral of the story behind that is that's real shit. You know what I mean? Yep. And that transcends even race, where especially myself coming up in like middle class, like poor.
Yeah,
that, you know what I mean.
You see that.
I've been in that type of situation before with stepdads or boyfriend, abusive boyfriends of your mother,
Yep.
Especially, when your mother's single and she brings some dude home, or, what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
it's kind of weird.
yeah, it's